Has anyone ever heard of the Luntz-Wexner analysis? Written at the beginning of the noughties, coincide with the Iraq War and Israel's intelligence policy on how to deal with the information that was going to be needed, information warfare that was going to be needed, should I say, for the war on terror, and encouraging America to get involved, to get involved in any Middle Eastern struggle, which would eventually benefit Israel because the region would be unstable. Do you know one of the things they said on there was about having very pretty, well-presented newscasters who are female? Because bad news is easy to deliver for a woman, and we'll all trust women because, you know, we have that instinct to believe mother. Now, this piece is called Gabon Military Seizes Power in Coup, and is with the BBC News. And look at this very beautiful lady. She's very pretty, isn't she? Aren't you a very pretty lady? Have you got any soul in those eyes? What? No soul?
Army officers have appeared on national television in Gabon claiming...
Massive eyes! Did you see her eyes get bigger? Let's watch her eyes get bigger. Oh my God, watch her eyes get bigger. Here we go.
Army officers have appeared on...
Puppy dog eyes! Army officers have appeared on national TV in Gabon. What are they doing? What are they doing, big eyes?
National television in Gabon claiming they've taken power. Gabon, a former French...
Oh my God! So I take it that's they've taken power in Libreville, is that it? Which is kind of like a free city or whatever it'd be called in French.
Colony is located on the west coast of Central Africa. The army officers said they were annulling the results of Saturday's election that had returned President Ali Bongo to power.
Right, okay. Though Ali Bongo is one of the best names I've ever heard, ever, I'm not allowed to make fun of it. I'm not allowed to make fun of Ali Bongo. It's dangerous, isn't it? The BBC would have me. I'd be like, Ali Bongo. Where does Ali Bongo come from? Oh, Gabon. Oh, how far away is that from? Well, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I'll be accused of nasty. You cannot say. Do you remember the old advert? Bongo. They sing it in Gabon. No, that's not it. I can't remember.
Gunfire has been reported in the capital Libreville. The group behind what appears to be a coup says the borders are currently closed.
So Libreville is become ironic. It's a coup. So can we leave? No, it's Freeville.
And they also claim to have the support of the armed forces. This comes after the Electoral Commission said President Bongo had won just under 2/3 of the votes in an election the opposition are.
President Bongo. Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. What are we seeing? Corruption in African countries. Not a surprise, really, is it? Not a surprise. And this is coming out of the BBC Direct 24 Gabon. So the BBC has set themselves up to be important voices in each of these places. And you know that intelligence-wise, there's something else going on here. Coups don't just happen. They're usually CIA-backed coups, or Ali Bongo's been warned a few times by the intelligence agency and the globalist community, the hedge funds and the other people trying to rip Gabon apart. And seeing as that these African nations are starting to get a little bit more, become upstarts, they've got to put them back in their place, haven't they?
Argued was fraudulent. Concerns over delays in returning the election results led to an internet shutdown and a nighttime curfew by the government.
An internet shutdown. Oh my God. We're going to shut down the internet. Why? Because you're going to organize and you're going to take us down. We better shut down the internet. So that is big, isn't it? You know, a country shuts down the internet. We're headed towards that. You realize we're going to be headed towards that in the West. You realize eventually it's going to be a load of OnlyFans girls who suddenly in wartime discover they can no longer dance for the troops. Oh, saucy.
Government that was still in place as of Monday.
Dude, now, I don't want to be, again, I don't want to adverge on the racism, but I'm not sure that pasties are a common thing in African countries. Do you know if Gabon has its own version of a pasty? I've not heard such things. I've never heard of a Gabonian pasty. Have you? Have you? What's in those boxes? Oh, it's votes. Any pasties? No, we don't even know what you mean.
Bongo came to power when his father Omar died in 2009. If he has been
Oh,
over
Ali Bongo and came to power after his dad, Omar Bongo. So the Bongos have ruled. It's been Bongo after Bongo. No room for. Do you reckon they have a dog called Bingo and it's a Bingo and Bongo? Do you reckon? Oh God, are you sure none of them are related to anyone who comes anywhere from anywhere near any type of jungle mass that rhymes with Bongo? Because that would be fantastic. Did you know that the bongo is a musical instrument? It looks like this guy's about to play the bongo. Look, the one guy in the light blue, who in the sky blue, he's about to go. He's thinking of
the
Omar.
throne, it would end his family's
Yeah,
53-year hold on power in Gabon. Well, let's go
53
live now
year
to Will Ross
old.
in Nairobi. Will, there are lots of claims being made there, but how much do we know about what is actually happening on the ground?
Wait a minute. Isn't Nairobi in Kenya? I'm unsure. Like, wait, I'm gonna have to check this because I'm pretty positive that if my geography is correct, Nairobi is in Kenya. Yes, as a population. Oh no, Kenya has a population. I thought Nairobi had a population of 50 million. Then no, that would be over the top, wouldn't it? Over that'd be crazy. Nope, nope, nope. The capital of Kenya is Nairobi. Now, do you know what's interesting? Do you know what's interesting about Nairobi? Not only the national parks, the beautiful national parks, the big building, the convention centers, and the Kenyan Railway. Not only that, something that's really, and I mean, this has got this really got to be stated quite clearly, is that it's in East Africa. Yeah, this guy is reporting from East Africa. No, do you know where Gabon is? I think I know where Gabon is. I'm pretty positive Gabon is West Africa. I think it's almost on the other pole, isn't it? Really, it's even further up. It's no. It's like basically across a pole. It's almost as close to Britain as Nairobi is. Gabon is almost as close. They could have chosen someone in Spain and it would have been as close to someone in Nairobi. Now, I'm saying that's racism. They claim this, they had the BBC Direct, you saw the image, BBC Direct in Gabon. Yeah, they're like, oh, we're going to report on Gabon now. Let's go to Africa because all Africans are the same. Let's go to Kenya, it don't matter because we're going to be speaking to a white guy anyway. It's not like we're going to be speaking to an African, is it? No, don't be silly. We're going to be speaking to this guy. Anyway, what have you got to say, you loose stool?
Well, as you say, there has been some gunfire in the camp.
There has been some gunfire in the capital. Is that probably people like anti-Bongo forces? Like they want to claim victory, but they don't want to play the drums because that'll have connotations.
Capital Libreville, which suggests it's not kind of a done and dusted coup that was quick and finished. But there was this extraordinary appearance on state TV, this video.
So he's the Africa regional editor. Africa region, the entire region, or he's a regional editor based in Africa, and his region's mid Africa. Well, I think his region would probably be East Africa, probably East Africa. Wouldn't you think? Not West Africa, but still, they could be a central. Will Ross, the generic schlop that we send. I'm not calling him a schlop. I'm calling him a schlop, like he's some sort of on the floor. I don't mean to be rude. I am being rude. Oh no, that doesn't make any sense. Oh yes, I do mean to be rude. Sorry.
With about 12 members of the armed forces. They've now said they've set up the Committee for the Transition and Restoration of Institutions, which is a
which is a way about saying Ali Bongo is gone and we're taking over, buddy. The army's in charge now. Play your drum
the kind
music.
of title that military men give to themselves when they've seized power. They seem to be from a fairly broad range of.
That's cheeky because a lot of them are seizing power on behalf of American and British intelligence operations in historically. That's really cheeky. It's like, oh, these are the type of thing these type of men do. What, like King Farouk in Egypt in 52, or whoever was in what was his name, Mohammed Mossadegh in Iran. Well, or was it, any of the other leaders that were ousted? Oh, and these people come in with their committees names that given to them by Americans and Westerners. They only call things these type of things because they learned from Western sources how to do that and how to capitalize on victory by creating institutions that control all institutions, one ring to rule them all.
The armed forces, which might suggest this military action has broad support within the armed forces, but not clear if it's over yet. We don't know where President Ali Bongo is at the moment. As you said in the introduction, he'd only just been declared the winner of this election, which the opposition and observers have really dismissed as a bit of a sham.
Well, observers nearly 100% of the time are UN or NGOs. Loads of NGOs that are related to programs that are then related to functionaries of the UN and other things, and things like Open Society Foundation, the USAID, and many other CIA cutouts. And look at this old plastic doll next to Bongo over here. Look at her. She doesn't look like she's from Gabon. I remember I went out with a girl who used to live in Gabon. In actual fact, I could say that loads of times. I could be like, I went out with a girl who lived in New Zealand, or I went out with a girl who lived in Greece, or I went out with a girl who lived in Spain. I know I went out with a girl who lived in Belgium. It's actually the same girl, this one. She lived in all those places. Her family moved around all over the place. And I first met her when I was a teenager. We got serious and stayed together for a few years. And she said when she was in Gabon, they didn't have hardly any proper food there. They were eating bread and cheese, and eventually they had to be rushed out in jeeps as the country was on fire with some sort of civil unrest and some other power group seized control. So I'm not sure if she was talking about somewhere else, but didn't something happen historically like this, or was that all of that time ago? Because I thought they said 53 years. So how long has Ali Bongo been in charge? How long has Ali Bongo been in charge? I wonder. Well, we could find out, or we could not.
President Ali Bongo was given over 60%, 64% of the votes. The opposition man, Albert Ondo Ossa, got 30%, but he was only chosen as the candidate just over a week before the polls opened. The rules of the election had changed, the ballot papers, the way the vote.
Right, so I see this. So I've gone and had a quick look while he's speaking and listened to him while he's speaking. But this seems to be like a reoccurring theme. What my ex was probably talking about was the election in December 1993, where apparently 51% of the vote meant Omar Bongo was re-elected, but the opposition candidate refused to validate the election results. Surprise! Civil disturbances and violent repression led to an agreement between the government and opposition factions to work for a political settlement. Oh, wow. Isn't that very interesting that this type of thing happens on a cycle?
Was changed very late on. But perhaps these military men who have seized power, perhaps they've just had enough of the Bongo family that have been in power since 1967.
Oh, 1967, they won all the elections, won by only 51%. Sounds a bit suspicious. It sounds a little Hegelian to me. Bongo and Bongo, we don't like them in Gabongo.
First of all, Omar Bongo for over 4 decades. He then dies and Ali Bongo steps into his place. And even back in 2018, when the president, Ali Bongo, had a stroke, he was completely out of action and wasn't seen for over 9 months, I think.
What? That sounds like Joe Biden, doesn't it? Is that what Joe Biden based his presidential run on? Ali Bongo while he was having a stroke. I guess that sounds about right, isn't it? Oh, who shall you mimic for your presidency, sir? Which one's the one who's in a hospital bed? Ah, it's Ali Bongo. Ah, Ali Bongo, Ali Bongo. I met him in Gabon.
10 months in total, but didn't step down and then came back to power.
Listen, it's not easy to step down if you're in a hospital bed after a stroke, is it? That's not fair. That's not fair. It's not easy to step anywhere.
And then there's been this disputed
joke.
election, and previous elections have also been disputed, resulting in protests by the opposition and protesters being gunned down. But we have to wait.
Here you go. See, that's the one they're talking about. Protesters being gunned down. And people rushing out as quickly as they can be because Gabon is being had one family holding on to power for a long time.
Wait and see whether this is a completed coup or whether it's still kind of in progress, and whether there will be any resistance from other elements of the armed forces.
Other elements.
Yes, well, that was
other elements. Other elements. So do you reckon this woman who presents this, she looks so lovely and pretty, do you think she knows anything about Gabon, or do you think she's there to look cute so that you forget what you're going on? Because I'm not being sexist here. I don't think she's going to win any intelligence contest. And this guy over here, Mr. Dweeble in Nairobi, is basically repeating things anybody who's got enough skill could repeat. They've just stuck anybody on the case. The nearest person, and the nearest person they could find is like, what, 3,000, 4,000 miles away or something? That's pathetic from the BBC, who are a global organization and apparently have a presence in Gabon, which is a lie. These two don't know what the hell they're talking about, is what I'm trying to say.
That brings me on to the next point, which is what can we expect might happen next? Because as we said earlier, there was...
So look, she's just reading off the sheet. She's just reading off the sheet because she has no ability to understand the context of what is involved in what she's speaking about. So she can't understand, she doesn't know the basic information off by hand. She hasn't bothered to learn it because she doesn't need to. She's gonna have to just present. So she's got no ability to give you any other information. She doesn't know what she's talking about, and she has to look down and repeat from her screen things that other people have written down that might be true or might not be. And you can sense that the air of nervous and trepidation when they know they're reading off somebody else's words.
That internet shutdown that was put in place and a nighttime curfew as well. What is the situation likely to develop into? We expect might happen next.
Right.
Because, well, yes, well, that was that brings me.
So look how much time this presenter, this professional presenter, and I know. Listen. I know she's not got turned around and taking pictures of her ass and showing them to, sending them to a 16-year-old or 17-year-old boy. I know she's not doing that, yeah? But in this case, I'm not sure anybody would complain.
On to the next point, which is what can we expect might happen next? Because as we said earlier, there was an internet shutdown that was put in place.
Look, so she isn't professional enough. She's not doing any of that. Really impressed, but she can't even look at the screen and speak at the same time. She has to refer, and people say, "Oh, she's referring to her notes." She's a professional broadcast journalist. She's supposed to be sitting there, knowing her job, repeating these words and learning these things so she can say it into a screen. It isn't that hard for most, but they're not employing the best. They're employing the most ethically malleable. That's what they're employing, and she's ethically malleable.
And a nighttime curfew as well. What is the situation likely to develop?
How much of that time did she spend staring at the desk, and how much time did she spend looking up? So let's get right. Okay, so she starts by looking down. So this is 3:28. Here we go. So we're going to look how much and count how much time she looks up.
Brings me on to the next point, which is what can we expect might happen next? Because as we said earlier, there was an internet shutdown that was put in place and a nighttime curfew as well. What is the situation likely to develop into?
4, 5. So maybe 4-5 seconds she looks up for in 14 seconds. So she spends 2/3 of her time looking down. As a newsreader, if you spend 2/3 of your time looking down because you don't understand the content, you're not a very good newsreader. Or you should be on maybe a lower down channel, but she's been chosen for a reason.
Well, yes,
She
that internet
distracts.
shutdown makes it very difficult for us to get through to people in Gabon. But I mean, if it sticks, this coup, they've already said they've shut the borders. Then presumably we'll find out where President Bongo is being held. But I suppose for the wider African continent, you know, this is coming hot on the heels of the coup in Niger, which is still causing, you know, a lot of political turbulence. The African
So this is coming on the back of a coup in another place, in another country, and it's all Africa, so it doesn't matter, does it? It's all Africa. It's coming out of the back of another coup. Is this a coup, though, or is this just the fact that someone has stayed in power for too long? And who is behind these things? Because likelihood is it's British or American interest behind all of this stuff, isn't there? There always is.
Union will be perhaps not completely surprised by this, because it just seems that there's this pattern in West and Central Africa across the Sahel.
Okay, and there was a pattern also across South and Latin America, wasn't there? All through the times the CIA were doing coups there. You know what the pattern was? The CIA were doing coups there. I told you the pattern in the statement. I'm sorry, I do apologize.
Countries before this one in Gabon, where disgruntled military officers seem to just think that they can seize power.
Oh, is that what they call them? Disgruntled military officers. So, as you probably tell by the Wikipedia page for Gabon, where they show like one of the Bongos shaking hands with George W. Bush, you know, the Bongos are liked by the establishment. And here's the truth coming out. These petulant no-marks who were looking to take power back in their own countries and cause all this trouble. Really, I think that's what comes out of what he said.
Officers seem to just think that they can seize power and lock up the president and then do as they please.
Well, the president seems to think they can seize power, fix elections, rig stuff because they have friends in Western places and that they can get away with subjugating their people and it will have no consequences, you cuckboy.
Tends to happen after that is the African Union or other regional bodies issue a lot of criticism, perhaps even suspend that country, but then negotiations start for when there'll be a return to civilian rule. But we'll see if this coup is over or still in progress.
Will, thanks for bringing us the latest on that developing situation.
Well, you dirty boy, bringing us the latest from that developing situation. What situation? Nothing. One of the wise guys, a mafioso in charge, have just lost power in a shithole country that can only end up being pressured into two things. Either it'll go back into the establishment's arms or it'll be civil war. That's how gangster politics works.
Correspondent Will Ross in Nairobi.